Hey, have you ever wished there was someone to guide you as you embrace change? Whether before or after a major life transition, the kids may be leaving home, moving out, going to school, a change in your job, your relationship, a separation, divorce, or an unexpected death in the family. Fostering connection with others and nurturing creativity is the solution we're looking for today. If you're curious about how to take charge of your life again, then this episode is for you. Did you know that it's completely possible for you to have freedom, whether in your finances or health, while living the adventure of your best life yet? Once you figure out what really matters to you as an individual, you stop comparing yourself to others and love your whole self. Now, you can start to enjoy true freedom. And I've got good news. You don't have to do it alone. Get inspired and empowered with my guest today. Now let's get going. Hey, I'm Hillary Baggett, host of Hill Talks Momentum in Midlife. As an occupational therapist turned entrepreneur after 50, I am on a mission to connect, motivate, and inspire women over 40 to know that no matter what is going on in your body, mind, spirit, or business, you can reach for that dream and know you are not alone as we create the Women's Midlife Network. In episode 78, I spoke with Zen Rabbit founder Lori Seitz about finding calm in the chaos of everyday life. As we continue the series of Women Supporting Women, my guest today is Leontien. She is empowering women to take charge of their lives. As a Dutch advocate living in Italy, she's ready to guide you to embrace change, foster connection, and nurture your creativity. She's a confidence coach and founder of the Happinest membership, and she's helping you prioritize your health, create awareness around wealth, and unlock your true potential. I'm excited to continue this conversation because I really enjoy speaking with her, and I hope you will too. I'm so excited to welcome Leontien to our conversation today. Hi.
Hi, Hillary. I'm super happy to be here because I love to talk about this subject. It's really my passion, and I can't wait to dive deeper.
Absolutely. You have been such an encouragement for me. I just wanted to share your gifts with so many more people on the podcast. And as the founder of Happinest, I know you're in a point of transition, and your Happinest was really focused on helping empty nester women find their purpose, their clarity, move forward, and unlock their true potential. But something's changed. So let's start there. What is changing for you?
The fact that my heart wasn't really in it, because obviously in the emptiness, there are women who are ready to reconnect with what is important for them, to become aware why it's important to take care of their health and your wealth and also your mindset. That's more or less intertwined. But for me, it wasn't. The empty nest is such a huge group of women, and they're on a different stage. Many of them, they want to find out how do you survive the empty nest. But for me, it's more than just surviving the empty nest. It's really about finding out what is important for you and how do you get there. And I'm a super advocate for become aware of where you stand financially and also health-wise. Don't wait till you get sick. Just get started now. So it's about taking charge of your life. It's taking charge of yourself. And the empty nest, I got into the empty nesters because it's a moment in your life of big change. But I think there are many more moments in your life with big change. So I find it too much combined, too much limited. And it all started out many years ago with women in general. And I'm back where I started from. So that was the reason.
You and I really share that passion for helping women through this major transition. And I know I run the Women's Midlife Network, and I know you don't like the term midlife. Can you tell me why?
Yeah, because for me, midlife feels like your life is cut in half, and one part is finished, one part is coming. I still feel like I'm in the middle of my life. And for me, being in the middle of life is about adventure. It's about ready to jump up, ready to enjoy yourself. But it's about words. It can be the language, it can be something else. But for me, midlife, second half of your life, it feels happy. And middle in life feels light and feels joyful. And I want it to be joyful and fun. And it is about feeling good, because that's what we're all after. And it can be, you can arrive at a point in many different ways, but in the end, all we want is feel good about ourselves and about our situation. And being in the middle of something gives you a lot of opportunities. And with midlife, for me, it feels some doors are closed and no door is closed.
Okay, so you want women to know that nothing is closed, that they might be in the middle, but it doesn't mean that they're halfway done or on their way out. Did I get that right?
Right. Also, I don't like labels. It's midlife. Let's just not label ourselves too much. And it's also... I don't hope that I go against what you're talking about, but also the menopause. For some, it's a difficult period. For others, they don't even know it is passing by. So that's also something. Let's not make it bigger than it is. That's more or less my message. And it's not about that your emotions are not allowed to be there, and absolutely not, because I'm all for living your emotions. And living your fears, living your anxieties, go through it, but don't get stuck in it. And I have this feeling, once you start labeling it, it's easy to get stuck.
Oh, that's a really interesting point, that if you give a name to it, that some people will maybe stick like flypaper or a glue trap, and instead of saying, well, yes, and I'm going to do this with it. So you really are focused on people getting the momentum to move forward, to make the changes and enjoy the adventure.
Yeah, it's especially to help, not to help, for me, it's important that women reconnect with themselves. Many women of our age, they don't know anymore what they want. After years having been mom, for many of us, luckily, or in a career that other people decided how your day is going, you lived other people's agendas. And then at a point you come, at that point where you say, okay, I got some time for myself, and I'm going to do with it. And you feel lost. Probably you feel lonely. If you're going back to the empty nesters, it's very often also a moment of loneliness, because maybe your friends are not empty nesters yet, and they don't understand you. They just think, oh, you're lucky you. Or maybe you go with retirement. And it's about not even waiting for the change to happen, but prepare yourself before. If I look back at myself, I started 10 years ago. I started almost 20 years ago with the whole route of self-development, and 10 years ago to trying to set up this business and helping other women. And that was before my youngest left the house. But I was so involved in many other things, and I started to find out what I like to do. And it also sets because I'm still kind of in the empty nesters mode, it sets your children free, other people around you. You set them free if you take care of yourself. And you don't have this neediness when you have to fill this hole, or you have to make sure that you help me to find out what's important for me. And it's, we were someone before we got in a career, before we got, even if your career was just a job you didn't like and was not, you didn't felt like a career, but it was still other people's agendas. Or also as a mom, before you became a mom, you had your hobbies, you had your interests, and it's just you probably lost them. And I think the biggest, the most important part, that are two important parts, is to reconnect with yourself and to make a real good assessment where you are in life. And then I come back to the financials, because if you have been a stay-at-home mom, or if you're depending on your partner, are you sure that when he isn't there anymore, that you're safe? You're now at an age you can still amend it, and don't shy away from it. Don't say, "Oh, I'm not a numbers person. I don't care," or laugh about it. From, oh, if my partner falls away, I'll see what happens. No, because 80% of the older women living in poverty, they weren't poor when they were living in their marriages. So that's one huge passion, and that's what I'm talking about. I have this collaboration in the Happinest community with financial fearless women, and I love it. They give a lot of information, and I can highly recommend to listen to their interviews. And then it's also about your health. I'm fanatic about it. I don't stop with excuses. Start taking action.
Well, I think we have to pause to unpack all of that wisdom. You've lived all of this, and you want to help people reconnect with who they are. And honestly, some people maybe didn't know who they were. If they partnered up or got married in their early 20s, they might not have fully developed who they were, or their interests have completely changed when they're in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. And my big takeaway for this part is, okay, you know what you have to focus on? Your health and your finances, non-negotiable. You have to know that you can take care of yourself financially to not live in poverty. And you have to know that your health is really so valuable that you can't afford not to pay attention to it. Did I get that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
Wow.
That's point. And that's all connected with your mindset, because it's the way how you talk with yourself and what you tell yourself. That's, it's impossible to be healthy. It's impossible to skip certain things. It's impossible to learn numbers. No, nothing is impossible. That's what you're telling yourself. Yeah. And
it's so true. And before we started recording, I said, I just hired a financial planner because I needed to take charge of my own personal finances, of just thinking, well, with my spouse, it's going to be fine, or with this, it's going to be fine. And women need to feel more confident about their finances. And later on in the season, I'm going to be talking with several financial planners to specifically help women break it down. But you were saying, were they called Financially Fearless?
Yeah, Financial Fearless Women. And every 2 weeks they have an interview with a sort of financial planner. It's about with whom you have to talk before you even start talking about divorce. It's about a family planning. What are you going to do with your elderly parents? And it's about a lot of different things. But the most important thing is know how your finances are. Even if your spouse or your partner is taking care of it, know what kind of insurances you have, what they cost, and what your normal output a month is. And because that's the only way you can prepare yourself for your future. How so many women, they say well, I probably can keep the house if my husband isn't doing it. That's scary. Where do you go? And even if you sell your house, you still have to have another place to live. Or statistically, probably we get more in trouble when we get older. I'm talking about many much older. But maybe you like to have a caretaker or caregiver, or go to the doctor of your choice. All those things you have to start thinking about right now. And that's connected with your health. It is, your body is unique, and I just went through a huge detox in the sense from there's this doctor and he says, okay, it's 50 years that you're putting stuff in your body, and at a certain point your body says stop, and you can see what is toxic for your body and not toxic for your body, and take it out and do a reset. And I did this reset, and it's really had a huge. I really feel so much better. And not talking about the weight I lost, but just about the general feeling. And the fact that I feel more healthy. And it's not the first time I've done it, but it's about be aware what you put in your body. Be aware if you get stiff in the morning, maybe it's time to do some yoga. Maybe it's time to take a little bit care in a different way. And it's fun. It's not a must. It's about self-love and self-care. It's about being nice to yourself and making time for yourself. And that's a huge thing which many women have to learn because they are not used to put themselves in the first place. If we talk about stay-at-home moms, they were the last in line for years and years and years. And yeah, those are all different little steps, but which you don't do it overnight. And we were talking about the amount of information which is out there, especially nowadays. But it's not about the information. We can get the information everywhere. It's about the implementation. And you're offering it, I'm offering it from, you don't have to do this alone. And in the Happinest community is a free Facebook group, and we're talking about these things. And you can ask your questions, and it's just about, let's just be there for each other and let's ignite our sparkle, our joy in life, instead of bringing each other down with all the hard stories. We all have stories at this point in life, and we all have our ups and downs. We all have our sadness, our grief, and our joyful moments. So it's a huge well here you can drink from and help each other.
Yes. And I love that because we do have to, sometimes that was a phrase that was overused here, choose joy, but choose where you're going to focus your time, your energy. Is it going to be the things that bring you joy and laughter and happiness? And I've watched so many women kind of wait till they're at the breaking point and say, I've lost all my joy. And understanding that we're responsible for taking the actions to make the changes to move forward, to kind of recapture it and re-engage with ourselves and through that self-love. So I love how you've kind of just illustrated that there's so much women can be doing to encourage them, their own body, their own mind, their own finances for freedom. So
it's also about finding your fulfillment. It doesn't have to be something huge. It can be as simple as connecting with someone. It can be as simple, okay, I don't have friends. Maybe I can start a book club, a film club, or a dinner club, or whatever. And it's about finding out what lights you up, what really gets you out of bed in the morning and saying, I like to do that. And those things are also in a continuous evolution. What lights you up today, probably maybe next month, you have something else. That's perfectly fine, because in this age where it seems that everything is makeable, it's not. Only what's makeable is the fact how you react on what's happening to you. And don't get frustrated if you're behind or you are not as good as someone else.
Don't fall into that comparison trap, right? Because you look at someone else right next to you or in your family or your neighbor or a friend and think that your life is supposed to look like that. But each of our lives is unique. And that's why having a coach or a facilitator or somebody that can help us with confidence. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about, you have experience as a facilitator as in the family Constellation. Did I say that right?
Say that right? Yeah, that's
kind of like the constellation of the stars and how the interconnectedness. Is that the right image I'm getting?
Yes, not with the stars, but with family or groups. And in the family, we are all interconnected. And that can go as far back as your great, great, great grandmother or father. And that can influence your life right now. And you can do it one-to-one and you can do it in groups. And the idea is to set up your problem and get family members in. It's not easy to explain, but you get so much insight, especially as a group facilitating. You're looking on the outside and someone else is taking on your role. And strangely enough, these people who you're putting in the role play, they take on their roles. Like you see back your mom, how she's moving, how she's talking, or your dad or your aunt. And every family has their secrets. And those secrets are so secret that nobody knows about it. And they can come out to the surface in family constellations. And those can be secrets of maybe that illegitimate child which has never been seen or recognized. And you're connected with her and you can change those connections, and that can change things where you're stuck in your life right now. But that's a subject for a whole other podcast. It's not something you can explain in 2 minutes, but it's fascinating. It started in Germany with Bert Hellinger, and it's now worldwide. And if you're like to look into it, go online and Google family constellations. And if you want to participate, Google someone in your neighborhood. I've done them also online, and it still works with little Playmobil puppets, and it's incredible. It was for me, it was life-changing. I went to a trainings weekend just for a day. Someone invited me and said, "No, you should come." And I never left. I stayed the whole 3 days, and then I did a whole training, and I've worked for it for a long time, and I love it.
That's really, really interesting. So I'm going to kind of go back a little bit of why is helping women so important to you wherever they're stuck? Because you don't want to work with stuck women. You want to work with women who are ready to take that next step, right? True.
And they can still be stuck, but at least if they're willing to. It's not that I can change things for them. It's they have to work on it. So it doesn't make sense if someone comes to me and says, "Hey, I'm stuck. What do I do?" Are you willing to do something? No, but you have to resolve it. That won't work. I'm passionate because in 2013, after the whole family constellations, etc., I read a book, and it was the book Rich Woman from Kim Kiyosaki. She's the wife of Robert Kiyosaki, and he's from Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that book was such an eye-opener from we women are so ignorant and so in danger. And that was more or less about the financials. And at that moment, I thought, okay, I'm going to take charge. It took me years to get clarity. And I had such a big mess, or we had such a big mess financially. We have a business and it was all connected. There was no clarity. What went into the house? What went into the business? And I realized that I'm not the only one. And so many women, they just don't want to, they want to look into it. And it's your life which is really in danger. And that's the same with the health. I don't know if you ever heard of Dr. Hyman. I did his detox 7 years ago. It was life-changing. I never looked back. I changed completely my way of approaching food and eating. And it made me feel so much better. And I think that's, I love to share that. I love to be the inspiration to say okay, I know it's difficult. I know it's not easy, but I know it's so necessary. And And I also know that it starts all in your mindset. It starts the questions you ask yourself, the way you talk to yourself. And I know there are dozens of gurus out there who talk about the same thing. And it's just about whom do you connect and what do you like to learn. And I love this idea of women helping women. And I'm in talks with someone, and we're still figuring out from how are we going to set up a platform. That it's not about us, it's about you, and offering a safe place and a fun place to meet, like a cafe where you can meet up and hear things and take away something. You can participate, you can just listen. I don't know where we will end up, but I hope we end up somewhere, because I just think there's a need. There is absolutely a need. It's, if you look on Facebook, the numbers are incredible from the groups. Like, yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. There is such a need for women to come together, to connect, to ask questions. There are so many issues that happen to women throughout our lives, but especially after 40 and 50 and 60. And sometimes the conversations are not yet happening. And to be in a place where some women are willing to talk about things that might feel either a little taboo or, oh, I've never heard someone say that with confidence, it can be so freeing. I really love that. In fact, I had even started a Cafe Bloom last year where women could come and here's our topics, and I made a plan, but I don't think I was as clear on what I was offering and who it was for, and then getting it out there to connect and knowing it takes time, whether we're working on ourselves or on a business or on a project, that it takes time to get so clear that whatever you're communicating, then everyone knows and then everyone comes. So I love how you've been able to share your journey, that it wasn't just I woke up yesterday and I had this idea and now I'm successful. I think that's the myth that many people think, or I could never do what you do.
No, for me, it has been a long time about monetizing, and I realized that's not my way to go anymore, because it doesn't work. It takes away my authenticity. It's like the gurus are saying you have to do A, B, C for marketing. You have to niche down. You have to do this. You have to do that. And it's still fresh. A couple of weeks ago, I said, no, that's not me. I don't want to do it anymore. And I like to say also that if you feel lonely right now, if you feel alone, then reach out on the internet, find your tribe, find your group. Because actually, a couple of days ago, one of my members from the group, she visited me here. I'm based in Italy, and she's from Chicago. And we had such a great connection. We had a great weekend, and I made friends like Hillary, but I made a lot of friends online since the pandemic. And the nice thing about the friendship online, it might sound like it's distant, it's not intimate, but I can assure you that a lot of noise falls away. You meet because you have a certain interest together, or you're doing the same course about water painting or self-development or whatever, and you go straight in. And with those friends, I don't know their families, I don't know their hobbies. It's just we get online and we talk weekly about things which are important for us. And I don't say it will take your whole loneliness away, but probably from there, maybe like we did with Marilyn and I, we met up and we were thinking, oh, if we like it so much, maybe we can start thinking about how to create little groups. We'll meet up somewhere in the world. So there's a lot going on. And I repeat that especially now, there is an overload of information and an overload of the way you should do it. And it's so easy to get frustrated. don't do it. And just connect with people who are of your interest. And are you thinking, oh, I like that. And you can try it out. In these last 3 years since the pandemic, I made friends. I lost friends. They were probably not the right people, but that's fine. That's life. And yeah.
How you just make it so clear that we're each individuals. We can find our people. We can find the people we want to learn from. And sometimes we need to say, okay, my journey learning with this group of people has finished, or my friendship with these people have finished. And it's time to move on to the next thing. And it's okay that it's a process and a movement. It doesn't have to be a fixed kind of mindset. The growth mindset is, what are possibilities? Let me try this out.
Especially if you're in this stage that you don't even know what you like. So you have to try it out. You have to connect, but you have to take action. Nothing is coming to you. You have to decide that you want to do something different, and that you have to decide yourself that it's time to take action. And action can be signing up for Hillary's courses. It can be as simple as joining a Facebook group. It can be as simple as going to your local charity, asking if they need help. There are loads of possibilities, but nobody is coming to your home and asking, what do you need and can I help you, if you don't reach out. That's my message. There are many, many, many women out there who can inspire you, who can help you, who like to be there for you, but you have to search for them.
Well, Leontien, that is perfect. Kind of putting the responsibility to search on us and knowing that there are resources, and you can reach out to Leontien or to me and say, hey, how would I find this or that? How would you like people to find you, Leontien?
Well, for now, I wouldn't say on the website, but that will change. That will change in the next coming weeks, because my website is still aimed at the empty nester. And still, you can find information about how I am, who I am, what I stand for. You can reach out via Calendly for a discovery call, and that's completely free if you just want to chat. I am on Instagram, and Hillary will put a handle in the show notes. I have this Happinest community. It's a free Facebook group, and you're more than welcome to join. And you can always reach out and send me an email. I'm more than happy to write you back. If there's anything I can do to help you, I'm here to help or to guide you towards who can help you or what your needs are. And we can talk about it. And I love to talk about it. So my biggest hobby is just talking to people and hear what are their interests, what they like in life. And that's what I love about podcasts, doing interviews. It gives you the permission to go a little bit deeper in other people's lives.
Well, I think that's why you and I connect so well, Leontien, because we have hearts for helping and serving, supporting women, for inspiring and motivating, and for also seeing them as individuals and not looping people together, and because we love to talk. So thank you so much for joining me today. I've just loved having you, and I know this won't be the last time we talk.
Thank you so much for having me here. And it was fun. It was just like getting a coffee together. Thank you so much for inviting me. I wish you all the best with your Midlife Women Network. And it was not my intention to offend you about the midlife, the word midlife or middle of life. It's just a play of words and of sensations, which for me, the words, the connection with the word is, but for someone else, midlife can be the beginning of something new. So it can be super positive. Let's not make it all in the negative.
That's right. I didn't take any offense, and I was glad we could have the discussion. And you're not alone. There are many people who are like, I don't want to think of myself as a woman in midlife, or people that are 40 definitely don't think that they're in the middle. And that's why sometimes working with 50-year-olds and beyond, they're like, well, I am between 40 and 60, and the psychology books say this is the time of midlife, but maybe we just need to come up with a better term. You know, like teenagers get to be called teens. What could we call ourselves? That would be just great.
I think we should point at the fact that have so much experience and skills. We are so rich in knowledge. And even if you don't feel like it, you are, because you have been running families, you have been running your jobs, you have been going through life. And that in itself, the fact that we are here is in itself already so special. And we have luggage. We have a backpack full of experiences, good, bad. And if we can find a word for that, that would be super nice. We can think about it. Next time, we come up with a nice word.
We will. The first word that came to mind of teens to queens, but sometimes that has its own connotations. And so we'll just keep brainstorming. Thank you, Leontien.
Thank you, Hilary, and see you around. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. There were a couple of key points I wanted to just make sure that I captured, and maybe it's helpful for you. Leontien said after we stopped recording, hey, it's important that people know that they're not an empty nester, they're a woman with an empty nest. And we got to talking about identity and empowerment and what that actually looks like. She is so huge about no rules, no labels, and it's letting go of a lot of old thinking. I love how she focuses on a positive mindset, healthy thinking for our physical body, our mental body, and our finances. So, what is your greatest takeaway? What would make your nest happy or happier? Let's get clear together. Let's keep the conversation going. Above all, love yourself. All right, here's where I need your help. I want you to help me let women entrepreneurs and business owners who are over 50 know that there is a place where they can come to connect, learn, and get inspired at the Women's Midlife Network. You can share this episode with them today. Whether you're clicking those 3 dots to share the episode or following that little box with the arrow up. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for listening. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you being an essential part of the Women's Midlife Network. We're connecting women. We're sharing stories and inspiring change. And not just for now, but for decades to come. I am so thankful for you, and I always hope you feel the love. Until next time, this is Hilary Baggett with Hill Talks Podcast. Let's move forward in midlife.